I'm looking all smart and dapper today because it's yet another business trip. Off to do some photo shoots for Classic Jaguar magazine, and yeah, it's nice to be out on the road again. There's been some hardcore sessions at the desk. That doesn't sound right, but what I mean is a lot of slogging away behind a computer for the past few weeks. It's nice to actually get out and experience the great outdoors, and the Rover really isn't a bad way to do it. Though the last tank came in at 26 mpg, which suggests I've been enjoying myself rather too much lately. Hopefully now we're back at a cruise again. That figure will improve. Ultimately the economy is going to be the problem with this car. I'm enjoying it at the moment, but I can see that novelty of the noise is going to wear off. I thought it might be interesting to have a bit of a chat about the Invacar. I have done a lot of videos on the Invacar lately, but that's because we're building up to the NEC Classic Motor Show, which is going to be a second big outing of the year, the first being Festival of the Unexceptional. But I thought I'd talk a bit about what the car represents really, because I get a lot of really negative comments about the fact that disabled people were forced to use these vehicles back in the day. But I think you have to look at it in the context of the time. I mean, yes, they were problematic, they were unstable, they did catch fire, and they were apparently quite unreliable as well. Certainly I've had issues with mine, but then she did spend 14 years sitting in the field. I think she's allowed to have the old grumble. But if you can't get out and fix it, reliability is a bit of a problem, especially in those pre-mobile phone days. You were just reliant on someone out of the good of their hearts stopping to help you. Maybe people did more of that back in those days, I don't know. But really, the Invacar was the mobility scooter of its day. It wasn't really a car. It was designed to be the most basic level of mobility. And to people who otherwise only had a manual wheelchair, I mean, these cars were an absolute godsend. And I think the biggest problem is when they first invented them after the Second World War, and you know, even through the 50s, when car technology was not that great, to be honest, they weren't so bad. I mean, you look at the microcars that were on sale in the 50s for non-disabled drivers, and even some of those were awful, really. Bit of body roll going on this really tight slip road. And we're on the A449. A road on which I once broke down in a Jaguar XK150, but we'll gloss over that and return to the topic being the Invacar. And yeah, I think the problem was, at some point in the 60s, they obviously thought these aren't good enough, because at the time they had I think there were a 174cc single-cylinder Villiers engine, but they still had a 4-speed manual gearbox, so one hand control would do acceleration, clutch, brake and steering. I mean, they must have been horrendous to drive. I'm quite keen to actually try one. I would like to give it a go. But then I remember how terrifying mine was when I first backed her out of the garage under her own power and almost crashed into the stream opposite my house. They take some getting used to. So mine's a Model 70, which was the last of the breed of the Invacars, and it was designed to be much more user-friendly, which is why we now have a centrifugal clutch, so there's no manual operation, it does it all automatically. And we've got the continuously variable transmission, the CVT, so there are no gears to worry about. It really is just open the throttle and go, or push down on the handlebars and hope you stop. And all very good advances, but the problem was none of these changes addressed the fact that they were still quite uncomfortable. and unstable. And if anything, the CVT made it worse because you could accelerate quite hard. And you know, the 0 to 30 is quite impressive on an Invacar. And if you do that on full lock and get a bit confused, you're going over. There's no beating about the bush there. It's going to end badly. So really, while it was an improvement on what was a pretty tricky design in the 1960s, it wasn't really a leap enough. And it was the campaigning of people like Graham Hill, Formula One racing driver, Sterling Moss, another famous racing driver, and people lobbying Parliament to say this isn't good enough. And that led to the introduction of the Motability Scheme in 1977, coincidentally the last year of Invacar production. They were a much better idea. So instead of leasing a little plastic three-wheeler, you could get effectively a discount on a proper car with an automatic gearbox. And automatic technology had got quite good by the 70s, even in small cars. And there was even funding available for hand controls and that sort of thing. A lot better. The bizarre thing is, while all these improvements came in 1977, the people who had the Invacars, they loved them. While some people certainly very happily took up a proper car, there were some for who they got used to the little freewheelers, and they still enjoyed the freedom despite the problems. And it's worth remembering that, you know, people really did like these cars. They meant so much to them, which is why the government of the time and successive governments didn't end the scheme. So from 1977 right through to 2003, which is when TUC stopped working as an Invacar, along with all the others, the scheme continued and the government still funded the specialists to look after these vehicles and keep them going. Oh, hello. Someone not understanding what give way means on slip road. Problems here is, especially on dual carriageways, people forget that if you're joining the motorway, you give way to the traffic that's already on it. And because most people are polite and will move over, people get too used to expecting that to happen. Anyway, back to the Invacars. So yeah, 2003 is when that would have been a Labour government by then, finally said okay, enough is enough, and brought the scheme to a complete end. And all the Invacars that were still working, like TUC, were rounded up, taken off their, I'll say owners, they didn't never own them, they leased them, they paid a small amount every week. But because they were leased, they couldn't stop people taking these cars away. And I do often wonder about TUC's last keeper. We know, I'm going to assume lady from the handwriting, but she left her shopping list on the dashboard for Galia, melons and peaches, so she obviously liked her fruit. It was definitely in the Sussex area, but other than that I have no clue of this poor lady who would one day have watched as a man came and took her Invacar away. Very sad, and it's telling that the chap I bought the Invacar from, he had that field full of them, and they were there because his friend had to collect all of them in the space of 1 week. And he said it was tragic. He said he watched his friend almost have a nervous breakdown because he was going around to all these people and he was taking their freedom away. And it's worth remembering that to drive an Invacar at the time, you needed an invalid carriage class on your driving licence. So some of the drivers didn't actually have a car licence, so they would have had to go through a test. It's just one of those things. Typical government probably didn't see the damage this was causing. Yeah, well, it's it makes me quite emotional to think about it. Nonetheless, Tuck survived because she sat in that field. The chap kindly forgot about them. He scrapped some of them, but he must have rounded up over 20, and he didn't scrap very many of them. They just sat in the field. He died, and then one day the chap decided he'd had enough, and he put them all up for sale. And that's how I came to find out about Tuck. I'm contemplating taking her on a road trip after the NEC. I would quite like to take her back to Fundersley in Essex, where she was built. Maybe that'll happen one day. Anyway, I've been prattling on for over 10 minutes apparently. It's just a bit of a vlog about the Invacar and its place in society. I'm sorry about that. My video got interrupted by a phone call from my photographer that I'm meeting this afternoon. Yeah, that's about it really. That is the story of the Invacar, its place in society, how I got hold of Tuck, and yeah, a bit of context. So yeah, very glad we've moved on, and the wheelchair users have some rather better solutions to mobility these days. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to leave comments below, don't forget Hubnut merchandise available at hubnut.org, and I shall see you in a future video. Farewell.